I'm Molly Chapman, business journalist for Slot Beats and Casino Beats, and today I'm joined by Alan Davis, head of B2B Marketing for Spotlight Sports Group. How are you doing today?
Good, thank you. How are you?
I'm good, thank you for asking. Thank you for joining me.
No, thanks for having us.
First of all, congratulations on the second edition of Spotlight Sports Group's BetTech Ecosystem.
Thank you.
I was wondering, what were some of the key findings from this?
Yeah, so as you know, this is the second edition. First launched actually to coincide with SBC North America Summit in 2021.
Right.
So we sped up obviously the research process and wanted to publish again alongside the event to give it a great launch pad. I think the biggest findings for us really, we've got three key takeaways as we had in the first edition. The second edition is obviously different. Things have changed very quickly, especially in the North American market. So I think the first key takeaway is about what we know and still don't quite know about North America. So obviously with regulation, legislation happening very quickly across different states, we're starting to get a real picture of kind of what we're looking at.
Yeah.
However, there's still lots of questions around some of the bigger states. So yeah, our first key takeaway is probably the most important for North America specifically. The second key takeaway is about an emerging opportunity, an emerging market for the industry, which is LATAM. Mm-hmm. Everyone knows that the scale of it presents a great new opportunity, an exciting opportunity. However, again, we don't quite know how that's going to play out. I think one of our key stats in the report is about Brazil, and we focused on that purely around, obviously, it's probably the furthest ahead in its kind of regulation. And the key stat really from takeaway 2 is that if Brazil regulated today, there would be more people able to bet than there are currently in North America.
Yeah.
So I think that kind of gives it that real succinct point around how big an opportunity LATAM is, and that is obviously just one country. So if we think about the other countries that form that region, you can understand why it's starting to become quite an area of focus for suppliers and people within the ecosystem.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think we wanted to highlight that. We don't touch on too many suppliers from that area because it really is about regulated markets at the moment. But we felt it was becoming such a big part of our day-to-day conversations and within the industry that it was important to include. And our third key takeaway really is about retention. So we kind of called it no retain, no game, and that probably again specifically applies to the North American market. As we've seen since the regulation has come in the States, it's been a huge rush for acquisition, and it's all about driving that acquisition and users as high as possible. However, I think we're probably getting to a point now where the market is starting to think about retention, and that's where Spotlight Sports Group starts to come into our own. And I think that's a really important part of the ecosystem. It starts to show, obviously, not only where Spotlight Sports Group has our strengths and unique elements, but it also shows how important that is going to be for this specific market.
Yeah.
I think one of the standout stats from the report is that the content area grew by 75% year on year. And when you put that against the other segments of the visual, it's pretty clear to see how important that is now, but also is going to be in the next couple of years.
So how does this report differ from the one published in H2 of 2021?
Yeah, so it's a good question, and I think we were kind of unsure how it was going to play out. Again, as I said, we accelerated our research process, and we were, I think, amazed ourselves to see how much the industry and the ecosystem had changed. And a good example is that the visual and the number of businesses we've included has grown by over 60%.
Yeah.
So we've included an extra or additional 127 to take it over the 300 mark. So it's grown significantly within such a short space of time.
Yeah.
And the one thing that we do say when we speak to others within the industry is it's not definitive. Mm-hmm. It's our take. It's our attempt to show the industry and help people have a kind of clear visual of how things work and how they work together and how each of those companies within the wheel work together.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would say that's the biggest difference. We've included 7 new segments as well. So while there's still the 6 core elements to it, we've added some new sub-segments which have been great. So yeah, all in all, it's bigger, better, more in depth, and obviously we've been able to do in the report element, we've been able to do a market recap, and that's very much been an addition because obviously the first time we did it, we didn't have that benchmark. So that's been a great addition. And then if you, for people looking at the report online or whether they've got printed copy, if you look at the back of it, we actually added a panel of experts this year, which is something that we've already had really positive feedback on. Yeah. While obviously we're confident that it's a really credible piece of work, we wanted some industry, independent authorities to really give it that gloss of that credibility, as I said. Yeah. And it was great to have the guys that joined us. They were super helpful in doing a written piece, but also joined us for a webinar, which is can also be found with the report online. So that's just another additional piece which we added this year. And I'm sure there'll be some more thoughts on what we can do for 2023.
Yeah, amazing. I'm looking forward to seeing the next one. So we're seeing a rise in sportsbooks adding integrated content to their offering. So from your company's experience, how important is this for driving better engagement for both pre and in-play markets?
I'd say it's absolutely huge for Spotlight Sports Group. Integrated content is becoming bigger and bigger across the industry, and that's only shown through illustrated. It's illustrated in the visual of the BetTech ecosystem, and that's really where Spotlight Sports Group are the experts. We did some A/B testing earlier this year with one of our partners, and we kind of highlighted the integrated content for pre-play using our Superfeed product. Increased engagement with bettors by 39%. So it's that's pretty clear, I think. And as I said earlier in the conversation, that the content element of the BetTech ecosystem is by far the biggest growth area this year. So that only highlights how important content, integrated content, and retention and engagement are going to be moving forward. That's proven in the UK, and I think that's only going to grow very, very quickly in North America.
So what might we expect from the next BetTech Ecosystem report?
Yeah, so although we're obviously really pleased to have published the 2022 edition, we are already thinking about how we can improve in 2023. I think one of the biggest positives so far is how much feedback we've had. Yeah. And really, when you look at the BetTech Ecosystem report, it's obviously produced and published by Spotlight Sports Group. This really is an industry piece, and I've been really pleasantly surprised by how much feedback we've had in terms of, one, how grateful people are that we've attempted to deliver this project, but also areas that actually we may be able to improve on for next year. Yeah. So I think the additions we've made this year have been fantastic. As I said, the expert panel has been great, and also the market recap. I think next year what I think we'd like to do is think about how we can create a more immersive delivery method online. So as you can imagine, when you're trying to think about 300 plus businesses, that can be quite a challenge. Yeah. So I think that will probably be our number one for next year. Right. Thinking about a platform that we can utilise to make sure we get more from that experience when people are working their way around the wheel as such.
Amazing. Well, that's all the questions I have for you today. Thank you so much.